Many of you have heard me say this, but we're on a mission to help storytellers rule the world. And when I heard these four words, it changed my entire life. I've read this book. It's called The Story Paradox by Jonathan Gottschall. I think I single-handedly have sold hundreds of copies of that book. I one day will get a copy signed by the author. It's a great book. Reading that book was going through like a really weird phase in my life where I was struggling as a storyteller. I'd written 12 sci-fi books in high school. I had like faced a lot of issues in my career where I was putting up money to like try and grow my career through Facebook ads, or I was trying to create all these viral YouTube videos and doing these stunts. And it was pretty disempowering because I had felt like I was like playing, my life was becoming an algorithm. I constantly felt like I had to like do all these things that were taking me away from like my true creative self to actually turn this into a business. And I wanted to turn it into a business because I love storytelling. So I was like, I want to do this full time for a career. And I just was seeing all the things that were broken about our current media ecosystem. And I'm talking about the digital space. You could argue even traditional media with Hollywood and the studios and these gatekeepers is even more broken. And I definitely did not feel like I ruled the world as a storyteller. I felt like the algorithm ruled the world, the platform ruled the world, the publishers ruled the world. I certainly didn't. But when I heard those words together, I finally realized that is true. Storytellers do rule the world. But the question is, which storytellers? And until very recently, that question has been answered in the world of filmmaking. And just in general, right? Hollywood's gatekeepers chose who ruled the world. And there's a reason for this. Telling stories required capital, lots of it. The average film costs tens of millions of dollars to make in Hollywood. And even the median film, because obviously the average is skewed by like really big budget films like Marvel, right? Which is going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars to produce. But even the average film is into the millions and millions of dollars. I mean, that's just not an amount of money that I have lying around, that most people have lying around, right? So that's where capital became a really important thing to make films and make stories. Then distribution, right? Up until recently, relatively recently, there was no way you could even get seen on a television or get seen by other people unless a movie theater or a television network allowed you to be seen, right? And this created a world in which, again, gatekeepers had power. So ultimately, for a very, very long time, for the 100 years, first 100 years of filmmaking, storytelling power lived in Hollywood, but specifically in gatekeepers who got to decide which stories ruled the world. And there's been some great stories that have been created, but odds are your story hasn't been created because Hollywood only produces about 1,000 stories each year. That's scripted productions, right? Between movies and television shows. And that counts also all like existing IP. So if the next Marvel movie, well, that's not new IP. That's not giving a new story the shot at really coming to life. It's cool, but it's not the same thing, right? So when we compare this to books and the world of self-publishing ebooks where I come from, it's pretty wild because there's 2.7 million ebooks published a year now, and that number is steadily growing. So I'm not suggesting that there should be 2.7 million movies published a year. Maybe there should be. Maybe there should be much more. But what I should say is that there's many more stories that deserve to see the light of day. And until very recently, that just hasn't been possible. Now, obviously, the internet has broken distribution for a while. This is why we've seen industries like self-publishing, industries like in books. We've seen this in audiobooks. We've seen this to a degree in comics when the equation is not about money in terms of creation, right? You can create something, you can write a book on your own. The internet has opened up distribution more. It has democratized things more. It's not perfect, but it's a little bit better. But movies and shows and films are different, right? Because the cost of creation was so high, hiring film crews, editors, actors, like you couldn't just it's like, okay, well, great, I can upload a film online, but how can I create one, right? That was the question until now. So AI makes movies and TV shows over 1,000 times cheaper and faster to make. And this is like really, when I saw this, I was like, this is amazing because AI can finally give power back to creative people. It can. And that's what we're trying to do at Creatorwood and what we're all a part of together, this movement to say, can we give power back to individual creative people? Because you don't need studios anymore. You can still use them. You don't need them. You don't need massive budgets. You don't need tons and tons of artists in the room. You still need some artists, but you don't need 1,000 artists that you're all paying, right? And you don't need, with the movie machine in particular, 10 complex tools to use. So right now, what's kind of happened, because many of you have been here for a little while, and recently went into this public launch of or public beta launch, excuse me, of the movie machine. And what happened is 70 days ago, and I'll kind of describe our arc, but it was taking around 10 hours to complete a scene end to end. Now it's much closer to 2 hours end to end to complete a scene using the movie machine. So in about 70 days, we've made it pretty much 5x faster and also much higher quality. We're going to be getting it down to under 60 minutes soon. So just to give you like an idea of like how fast this technology is progressing, even how much the move machine's gotten better so quickly, it's literally getting like multiples of improvements in like a matter of basically 1 to 2 months. So that's been like remarkable to watch happen. And why we've gone into this public beta now is because look, if it's going to take you 10 hours to make a scene and there's a lot of issues, which like is expected when a product's in early beta, hey, we're going to keep it closed and work with our early people to make it better. Now it's at a stage where almost anyone can make films very, very quickly and some really cool stuff. And the reason we're keeping it in beta for now and not calling it like a public launch is because now we want you all to make films with us, and see that we can actually have viewers watch these films and love them and start making money from them. And once we see that, which will happen in the coming months, we'll count it as a public launch. But the product is at this like interesting stage now where it's just gotten so much better, so much faster. And I'll describe some of those improvements in a little bit. But what we see here is, in general, with the movie machines, thing I want everyone to know about with how this works is that you keep the rights, you keep the revenue, and you keep your audience if you choose to publish on Creatorwood, but you can publish anywhere. So this is like really, really important, right? We don't take any of your IP rights. We don't want that. That's not our business model. You have control of your IP. The next thing is that if you do choose to use our streaming platform, Creatorwood, we started off as a streaming platform, and we realized in trying to build a streaming platform for AI movies and shows that actually making AI movies and shows is nearly impossible with the current technology, which is why we built the movie machine. And you can collect viewer emails using the streaming platform we have, sell direct to your viewers, keep 80% of the revenue, and basically build a business that you get to control, which is the first time in filmmaking history that you can do this. You can end to end create and build a business in one place. Now, 7 months ago, Creatorwood was just like an idea, right? It's kind of crazy how fast this has all moved for us. And even 2 months ago, it was a very different place. So 7 months ago, we started from this like Discord server called Beyond the Book, where I was working with a bunch of amazing authors who were doing stuff in AI video. And we kind of got the crazy idea, like, what if we stopped making like AI videos to promote our books, short little snippets, but actually tried to turn our stories into long form shows, movies, and films that could entertain viewers. So that became the question, like, what does this look like? Why aren't we selling entire AI movies? The technology's starting to get there. So I called up Sashva, who you'll hear from in a little bit, towards the latter half of this. He'll actually demo the movie machine for you all so you can see how the workflow works. And I was like, hey man, like, do you want to make some AI movies? Like, I think this is going to be an interesting industry. You know how much I love storytelling because we both had met each other when we were at school at Harvard. We did a startup accelerator together. So I was like, yeah, I think like we can. I think there's something here. And I remember he was like, yeah, I mean, like it can't hurt to try, but it was like kind of like a crazy thought at the time. And I think pretty quickly we realized like it was a crazy thought, but it was crazy because it's actually going to work. And we've seen now it start to turn into something that is much much bigger than us. So at the time, again, I have this background where I'd seen a lot in video at working for Mr. Beast, publishing these sci-fi novels, helping authors make money from my last software company. So I'd seen this kind of convergence of technology, video, and storytelling. I saw this, but what I didn't see was what we ended up learning, right? Which is that the current workflow to make AI movies is nearly impossible. You can use a bunch of different tools right now to try and make AI movies. You could go to 11 Labs directly, go to Kling, go use like free pick and all these like Imagen workflows. And you'd have to end up becoming like a prompt expert. You'd have to somehow convert your story into 1,000 different shots. You'd somehow have to string this all together, buy all these subscriptions. It's kind of mind-numbing. And we started teaching free classes on how to theoretically string together a movie making workflow using other AI tools, and no one was doing it. And that's when we realized Creatorwood as a streaming platform is great and is awesome, and we need to build a space where creators actually have control and power to build a business making movies. But more importantly, we have to build the technology to make the movies. And in the last couple months, it's come to life. What you do in the movie machine, and Sasha was going to show this to you in detail, is you upload your book or script. If it's a book, we turn it into a script first. If it's a script, it stays as a script. Then AI turns it into a full storyboard. And this storyboard's planned out with every action, every dialogue, every camera movement for your entire film. This happens automatically. So AI adapts your story for you. Think of the movie machine like a movie studio in a box. Like every role you'd see in a movie studio, AI is essentially doing for you. And you also have all of the characters and settings and objects created for you. You act as the director, you change the shots, you change the start frames, and then you hit go and actually generate video. And in real time, the AI generates your scenes with video, audio, sound effects, music, and more. So this again makes movie creation literally 1,000 times faster, easier, and cheaper. And this is what the movie machine does, all in one place. Now, we'll be talking much more in detail about this, but what I want to share is like for folks who've been here, what's actually happened last 60 days. I alluded to this, but we've made scenes 5 times faster to create, which has been an effort. And you might be asking how we even know this. In short, we track time pretty diligently. Specifically, in the last 60 days, we built a sort of VIP production team internally, mostly with the idea of how the only way we're going to learn how to make the best AI movie making software is to make more AI movies than pretty much anyone else. And some of you are here and actually wanted us to make your movies for you. So we did start doing that. And then with that, we've brought on this incredible team with Mia at the helm, who you'll hear from later. And they have been making amazing things happen with the machine and pushing the limits of it. And through that, we've just analyzed how can we make this workflow better, faster, and more fun. And we're going to still keep making this thing so much better. There's so much room to go, but very quickly we've been able to make a lot of improvements. There's been video, lighting, voices, consistency. All of this has gotten remarkably better in the last 60 days. And anyone who's used the software 60 days ago versus now can say that, which is what blows my mind because I can't even imagine where this is going to be at in a year. We've also shipped literally dozens of new features, which is mostly because Sashva doesn't sleep, who you'll hear from in a little bit. You can now import characters throughout projects. So if you're setting up a series of films, you can maintain consistency throughout that series, which is pretty remarkable. There's wardrobes, so you can have different wardrobes for different characters in different scenes, right? Because if you're going to the beach one scene, you're not going to be wanting to wear that when you're going to the fancy gala with a suit. Book to script conversion's new, but now we have that, which is super cool. Production Bibles, teasers and trailers are coming like in the next couple days. There's just so much that has been built, and I'm sharing only like a little portion of it all. If you go to the changelog at
There a
changelog.creatorwood.tv, you can
microphone
see
on here?
more of these changes that have been made. So tons and tons of improvements have come. So as I mentioned and also alluded to, we have a few things to do before we're ready for like an official public launch because we're calling this the public beta launch because we want people to use it. We want to get more data working with y'all together, see your issues, see how we can help you. But ultimately, we want to get it to under an hour per scene on average to create high quality films. Right now, we have got to make it basically 2 to 3x faster and simpler to get there. So we made a lot of improvements in the last 60 days, but we're not to where we think is like truly exciting yet. I think we're close. Next is like we want to prove viewer demand. I think none of this really matters. Like it's awesome to like get your films created, but what we've really learned is like the customers we're creating for are people who want to build a business doing this. Like fundamentally, we're interested in people who are going, yes, I want to make a movie, but I want to make 10 or 20 movies. And the only way you're going to make 10 or 20 movies throughout your lifetime and I think many of us do have 10 or 20 movies or 10 or 20 seasons of television in us. The only way to be able to create those stories sustainably, given the compute cost of AI models, given the time investment, is to also make money back. And we can't promise that it's going to happen to everyone. Actually, candidly, most people won't make their money back. That's true for any creative career. That's just a fact. So you should only spend money in this thing that you can afford to lose, especially because we're early days here and this is a new industry. But with all of that said, we do have to prove that viewer demand's a thing and actually help the first AI film businesses come to life. Think about this. This is a brand new industry. We're at the early days of it. And once we prove that and see that, it's inevitable. We all know this is inevitable. The world is heading in this direction. We're creating this future together with y'all. But once we actually show that and you can see, oh, wow, this person's has this awesome AI film and it's making money and viewers are happy, we're going to be going into a public launch, not just for creators, but for viewers too. And it's very important that we nail that down. So this is why we're inviting more people in now and why we want to get into this next chapter together. It's a very exciting time to be here. And it's going to just keep getting better. So um, the thing is, public launch, right? I said it's a few months away. And again, I still said we're still in beta, but there's truly nothing else like Creatorwood out there. And I think we've inadvertently built, which you're going to see in a second, something that we didn't even fully anticipate, that me and Sasha even recently been talking about. We've been like, oh wow, like this was kind of a happy little accident. I'll share with you what that is. But um, people sometimes tell us like, oh my God, like I've used this tool or that tool. How is this different before they try it out? And the simple answer is other tools are built for filmmakers. Other tools are made to solve specific things in your workflow. Whereas the Creatorwood literally says you don't need to be a filmmaker. It's about storytellers. And as storytellers, you should be able to turn your stories into film all in one place. And really, again, a movie studio in a box. So that's what makes us unique. And we're already best in the market what we do, but we want to just keep getting better because there's so much room to grow from here. So um, I've already said here that instead of the 10 plus tools of like needing to have, your storyboarding tool, your script editing tool, your music generation, your audio generation, all this is in one place. What we found is that we accidentally built essentially a bunch of other tools we're going to be launching in the next couple weeks to months here. So, in the process of making a movie, you need to also make great scripts. So we've kind of built a whole AI script editor now. So we're refining it, making it better, and then launching that as a product that if you don't want to make a full movie yet, but just want to turn your book into a script to shop around, to do whatever you want, that'll be like really easy to do. We basically already have that possible, but we're going to be launching that more publicly. In the process of making a film, right, you have to have all these different character voices. You have to have the music, the sound effects. We've inadvertently built an audio drama engine, just inadvertently. So we're going to be launching that as a standalone product too, that if you want to spend less money, because video is the most expensive step in the process, right? If you want to spend less money but still get your stories out there in a new format, in a new medium, you can do that. And that's what we're coming out with the full cast audio drama engine. There's subtitling and dubbing that we're going to be building. And I'm super excited. This Joshua literally, one of his previous companies was literally building AI dubbing and subtitling, and very, very exciting space. And with that, you'll be able to translate your story into any language, at least not any language, there's 7,000 global languages, but let's say the top maybe 20-ish global languages, you'll be able to translate into. And then in the process of promoting your films, and this is coming out shortly, we've built a trailer and teaser generator so that you can like share clips of your films on social media and market them. And all this has been like kind of like inadvertently, like we've built the movie machine, but built all these other things. So for many of you who might be like curious to check this thing out, not ready to make a full movie yet, that's great. Like all good. We have a lot of other things for you that we're going to be coming out with super soon. And as I mentioned here, Hollywood uses clips to promote their shows. I could go on a whole rant about clip farming and how all this works. It's very interesting. But now you'll be able to do this soon as well, where making teasers and trailers at scale will take, very little time and very little money, relatively. So before we continue on and show you the demo of Creatorwood, and I share a little bit more about what we've learned in the last 2 months, I want to like recenter the questions that I think about and that I spend my time thinking about because I think these are the questions you should spend your time thinking about if, like us, you're interested in building a business, selling films to fans, sharing your stories to the world in a visual medium, and creating movies and shows. And Erica's going to be talking about this in her session later, so I do encourage you get the full download from her. And if you're watching this, not live, just know that there'll be a playlist with all of these sessions in it. But the TLDR here is that Creatorwood's a pay-as-you-go system. You don't pay upfront for like some massive subscription or, oh, here's $2,000 to go make a film, right? It's pay-as-you-go on a like literally per shot and per second basis. So what's really interesting about that is you can validate if your film's going to work without spending a lot of money in a pocket. You don't need $1,000 to know if your film's going to work. So there's a few things we're doing on this front. One is on the business side, Creatorwood's going to be launching a sort of premiere feature where you'll be able to validate that your shows are working. Think about it like a show pre-order. So you can have people actually pay you before your film's out if they're interested in it. And that's going to be really, really cool, especially for a lot of folks who, candidly, like myself, like I spent a lot of my life with not very much money. So even if something's $200, that can be something that breaks my bank. But we don't want to be that something that stops you from creating stories. So if you can get folks to be in your story and enough to start to fund the story, you're going to be in a really good position. So the first thing is, can you get viewers to notice your film? And with our new trailers and teasers feature coming out, you can take a script without making a movie, make trailers and teasers, promote it on social media, and then see if people will be interested. That's pretty wild. You don't need to make a movie to see if your movie is going to sell. You just need to use the movie machine, to create slices of your movie that people might be interested in. Now, if you get them interested in it, the question is, can you get people to purchase your film? Which on Creatorwood, soon you're going to be able to pre-order shows. This is where we're going, right? As we go to the next levels of this business. And that's huge because if you can show that people will engage with the content and then purchase the content, you've now solved two of the biggest questions in filmmaking that half the time Hollywood spends $10 million dollars and then figures out that these questions were not true. And you can now spend, under $100 and very little time relatively, like we're talking hours to figure out if this is true. And this should be what everyone focuses on if you're looking to turn this into a business. If you're not looking to turn this into a business, then oh my God, like we're still here for you. And like I'm so happy you're here. And like, yes, you can make your story seen and your story should be seen by people. And your story should have a chance to go out in the world. And I'm not one to say whether or not your story should be seen. We want every story to be seen. But at the same time, if you want your story to make money, who gets to decide that is viewers. So answering questions number one and two are key. And you don't need to go make a full film to answer these questions. And I think that's pretty remarkable that we're now in a stage where someone can start a filmmaking business with very little money and time out of pocket to start validating and learning. The fact that the barrier to entry is that low now is one of the coolest things. And we're going to keep making this easier, simpler, better, and faster. Next is the third question, really, really important. Can you get viewers to keep watching your film? If you have taken, it's totally free. It's a boot camp I created about the business behind AI filmmaking. It's at blog.creatorwood.tv/bootcamp. We can put that link in the chat. If you haven't taken it yet, you may have missed my story here. But what I did is when I was 18, I had figured out this about storytelling. And I started running pre-orders to like my books. So like my 10th book was called Mad World. And I ran a pre-order to it. I validated it was going to sell before even writing it, just from a cover and book description. And then from there, I wrote the series and was like, great, this is going to sell a ton now. And the problem is I sold a lot of book one, but I didn't get people to keep reading book two and book three. And that is like the biggest thing in a filmmaking business, that if you can get people to go from just being interested to being fans, you win. And that's the third question. Can you get viewers to keep watching your film? Because if you can do that, then you can keep creating more films and not have to reach new viewers and still make money and still be able to fund your next film. That's amazing. And this is not like science fiction. This is how the entertainment industry works. But you now get to run a studio in a box and you don't need to depend on Netflix owning that audience or Netflix holding that to you. Mind you, if anyone on Creatorwood gets their film sold to Netflix, I want to know. I'm going to be throwing a party for you. So, all these things are not mutually exclusive. Okay, with that said, we have had a very interesting development as well that I want to share. Because again, you all came here to learn about Creatorwood, but many of you I know already know a lot about Creatorwood. So I want to share some places about where we're going that are pretty crazy. And in the process of this whole VIP production system we've set up, where we've been trying to learn about the platform, we also inadvertently found out that a lot of people want to pay other people to make AI films for them. And we've also found that there's a group of people on our platform, which you might be one of them if you're here, that spends more than 40 hours a week making films on the platform just because they love it. And that was like fun to me. I was also like I have fun with this stuff, but I was like, is anyone else gonna have fun with it? And I think me and Sasha have been shocked by that. And we've been like, what is going on? But honestly, I think it's so beautiful. Like some people, and you might be one of them, love making films on the movie machine, and you just want to spend your days inside the movie machine. Other people want to make movies, but might not want to spend their days inside the movie machine. Both these things make sense. So similar to how you can hire narrators for audiobooks or hire editors to edit your ebook or hire graphic designers to make your covers. We're building a marketplace where anyone can become an AI director and make money doing this. And we're expecting that next year there'll be millions of dollars flowing through this. And it sounds farcical, but we have way more business internally than we could ever handle. So we have to do this because we need you all to do this because I think you all will do better than us and you all can also build businesses doing this. And I think what's really exciting to me now is to see that it isn't just about, okay, I'm building a show and then selling it to my fans. It's a whole new industry that's being created now. And now our next chapter of Creatorwood is how do we build the ecosystem and tools to support this new industry. So we're launching this marketplace. You can become a certified director or just anyone can be in there. And I think it'll be really, really cool and help a lot of people get their stories seen. So if you're interested in being a part of something like this in our beta, we're going to be betaing this in January. And if you want to be a part of it, just send us an email at hello@creatorwood.tv. All this will be like paid projects that we'll send you. And then if it goes well internally in our beta, where we kind of essentially subcontract out projects to you, we'll then open up the marketplace at scale. You'll be able to set your own pricing. We'll obviously help you set pricing because this is a new industry for everyone. But I think there's a world here in which everyone can get paid really fairly to do this work, and people can pay fairly for the work done, and it'll be way less, way, way less than you'd ever have to pay in Hollywood. We're talking like a fraction of it. So that to me is really exciting, and I think makes this whole thing even more accessible. So that is another place that we're going in. Now, this I'll talk about more in the end, but we have like a sort of cohort of a sort of educational program. A lot of you have asked to get one-on-one help with our team. So we're releasing a program. You can get one-on-one help with our team in your movie machine project. And then if you want to actually do this for other people, you can do that too, which is super exciting. So I'll talk more about this later and over email. But we're super excited to do this. And Mimi on our team, she's our head of education. She's been helping run this for us, and she's amazing. She'll talk more about herself later, but tons and tons of filmmaking experience. So it's incredible. So I think something that we found as well, and this is like really crucial. And this is what we want to have you take away from today. Because now I'm zooming back out. You understand where Creatorwood's going. You understand the vision. You're soon going to see the product in the next couple minutes. But the big picture here that I want to have us understand about today is that we want to give you the skills to ultimately be an AI director. In all these sessions, you're going to learn not only how to use the technology, but how to think about storytelling, how to think about the audio side of things, how to think about visual pacing, how to think about budgeting. These are really, really important things that AI directors need to know. And a lot of people have come into the movie machine and literally just started pressing buttons and kind of just expecting AI to do everything perfectly for them. And every time without fail, they're like, it didn't do exactly what I wanted. And it's like, well, did you communicate what you want? What was your actual intention? Did you know what you wanted? This is where like being a director is key, right? And being able to understand, okay, this is my vision for the film. How can we actually execute on this and work with the AI? And the AI is going to be here to help you every step of the way. It does most of the work for you. But if you don't direct the AI, like what are we doing? So I think this is where we're truly creating like a new profession in filmmaking. And I think you all inadvertently are building these skills. And now I think we can be even more intentional about where this goes because we've just been so excited to see like on the flip side, some of you start to really get good at this, really see quickly, wow, okay, here's how I can make scenes. Here's how to think about this. And then watch as you all bring your stories to life. And that has been literally the coolest feeling ever. I can't even describe to you like how awesome it is to watch y'all do that. Um, so again, I want to just give our like kind of ending message here before I hand it off to Sashva, which is that Creatorwood is becoming a new movement. And at this point, like, I'm opening up this talk and I'm grateful that I've been able to help start this company. But we've grown way beyond even just me and Sasha. We now have an engineering team. We've got Erica, who's here, who actually led and put on most of this event. I kind of just showed up. We have Mia, who is our creative director. She's amazing. Mimi, who leads our education. We have community manager coming on. I mean, it has become a real team and a really big thing very quickly. And I first just want to say thank you all for your support, for helping us be able to make this happen, believing in us early. And I think it's very humbling to see that this has grown well beyond me. I take the step back. I'm the sidekick at this point, hopefully to help you all be the leaders of this new industry. And we want to empower you with the technology, with the community, and ultimately the education resources to succeed and become the new stars of tomorrow. And that's where we are today. I am incredibly grateful for everyone who's made this happen. And again, it's almost mind-blowing to think about like this was just an idea 7 months ago, but I want to take this as inspiration for all of you because you today, right now, might be sitting with an awesome film idea, an amazing story idea that could change the life of viewers. Because think about how much meaningful stories have never been shared before. Because I talked in the beginning about the business, and the business is important to me. I have fun. I love building entertainment businesses. It's very fun for me. It's entertaining for me. But the real thing here is that when someone watches a film, when someone pays for a film, when someone engages with a film, that story is creating meaning in their life and a purpose that is just you can't quantify that. That is like what changes the world. It's why storytellers are the world. And what I want to leave you with is that I'm pretty confident that there's going to be one of you listening here today that 6 months from now is going to be like, Michael, I just got an idea for this story and I started making the film. And in 6 months, it's now become something that has like truly changed a viewer's life, right? And that you get a note from a fan or a comment or something that someone goes like, thank you for this story. I've never seen something like it before. Because the truth is that most stories that you all are telling have never been seen before. Nothing like it. You all are doing brand new, incredible things, and viewers need it. So I empower you all to go out and make change this is all like, things can happen way faster than you think if you just take action and take the next step. And I believe in you all. I've seen people who have no filmmaking experience, literally none, come into this and do amazing things after just a couple days. And I'm very confident that you all will be here soon. So before I hand it over to Sashva and we show a little bit more of the platform, and then we take our break before the next session, I want to show you a little reel of things that have been possible inside of Creatorwood because many of you have asked us to show you films and all these things, and absolutely, like, of course, you want to do that. So I want to show you a little film reel. It's a song about storytellers ruling the world, going over it, but some really cool shots that just show what's possible with the tech right now. And I want to reiterate that if any of you were at our last summit and saw where the tech was at literally 60 days ago, you will probably be like, wow, this has gotten a lot better because it has. And it's just going to keep getting remarkably better. So let me share the screen on that. And then I'm going to hand it over to Sashva, my amazing co-founder and the actual person creating the movie machine. Because if I was the one creating the movie machine, you would be helpless because I don't really, I'm not an engineer. Okay, let's open this up and watch this. And I'm going to put the YouTube link in the chat. It's unlisted for now on YouTube because as we get into like a more formal public launch, we'll share more official demos, but we want to share with you what we have now. So let's dive in. Oh wait, actually, I think I need to share. I'm going to do my file so that y'all can hear the audio. I just remembered that I downloaded it to my computer. Um, 1 second, sorry, y'all. I'm going to put the YouTube link in the chat though first. So y'all can watch the YouTube link in your own time. And then I remembered this is a lesson from our last summit. Zoom is not the best at sharing audio through, um, you know, the internet, but if you share a file, it does amazing. So we're all learning about tech, myself most of all. Okay, so then we go documents, advanced, video file. Here we go. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just excited because I finally figured out how to use Zoom. It only took me a couple years. Okay, so this should be sharing like the raw video file with y'all. I'm gonna mute myself, press play. Note we have like a song going over this because it was like gonna be super confusing if you're hearing all the different dialogue and sound effects for too mentally jarring. We had to tie it all together. So I'll press play and then I'll hand it over to Sashva. Okay.
Hey, we rise in the heart of the night when the stars align. Voices echo loud and we feel divine. Every tale untold, every dream alive. Storytellers unite, watch the magic thrive. From the shadows we come, we light up the scene. Fables and legends where we've all been, flowing like rivers. Our words take flight with passion ignited. We'll dance through the night. We are the storytellers, ruling the world. With every beat, let our dreams unfurl. From the streets to the sky, we write our fate. Creativity rising, it's never too late. Dance with the chaos, live for the thrill. Turn up the volume, let's feel the chill. Creators of the world.
Pretty awesome. I'm so excited. And we're excited to share many more and see your films come to life shortly. Um, I think I can X out of the video file. I think I checked it out. Sasha, you're going to be up in a minute, but before he goes up, I want to address some of the questions in the chat because the benefit of us being live is that I know the team answered many of your questions, but a few things I'll iterate to everyone is if you were here at the last summit, you heard me talking about all the restrictions we had on generating video content where things like violence, um, were hard to depict without because we get rejected. A lot of these restrictions are already gone. They're much looser. And in the coming weeks, we expect the restrictions to get loosened up a bit more. We're kind of headed in a really good direction there. So action scenes, fight scenes, I don't think you'll have a ton of issues with. To reiterate, I love romance stories, but we're still not allowing any sort of graphic sex on camera. That's, I think, just not something we're going to be doing. But at the same time, a lot of other things in filmmaking that you may have had issues on Creatorwood in the last 60 days because of, you know, AI blockers and things like that are going to be and already have made huge progress and will continue to be lifted. I saw a few more questions. Vertical content, yes, is coming. Steven asked, if you're working with an AI director, how does it work with copyright? So with our team, if you're hiring someone like on our team, VIP production, you have all rights. You don't need to credit us, nothing like that. But as we build out this marketplace and create this new job function as an AI director, my honest question, like my honest answer to you is I don't know the answer to that. And my question would be, what will be best for all of us as a creative community working together? I think like I don't want to derail things because that's a bigger question that I'm happy to talk to anyone about. You can reach out to me personally at my email here anytime. I regularly take calls with people like all the time to learn from y'all. I would be very interested in hearing your thoughts on this issue because I think that as AI directors become a true career path, how do we empower and give them credit? Like clearly there needs to be something there, but at the same time, I think the storyteller probably should retain the right. So I think there's sort of a sort of dancing act here where maybe some directors want to take rights because they're like a big shot name and they want a percentage of the revenue it makes. Maybe other directors don't because they're getting started and that's not something that they're up for yet. I think Audible, if anyone's familiar with ACX and how authors work with narrators, is a very interesting model that we're trying to follow, where some narrators take a rev share, or you can just do a pay per finished hour, and then the original creator of the story, owns the rights. So, anyways, there's a lot of different ways to go about it. The TLDR here is we're learning together, and that's what being in beta is about. So, with all this said, let me transition to Sasha. I think those are the big questions, and we'll get it going.
Cool. Can you guys hear me all right? Awesome. It's actually so funny watching the demo video because I heard that music blasting in the living room. I thought maybe Michael was just having a party of one, but it's good to see that this is what it was for. Less concerning. Um, cool. Well, I'll keep it brief so we have some more time for questions at the end, and feel free to just like drop questions in the chat as we go through it. I just want to say like super grateful for all of you guys being here. Like already, as Michael said, like it feels like we're just a small part. Like both our team is moving this forward, but as far as product goes, like all of you move it forward by far way more than any of us do because you're playing with it like even more than we do sometimes, and it's really incredible to see. I come from more of a tech background, and so the customers we work with are very grumpy or like want like a lot of things, very demanding, and you guys are like truly like the sweetest, most creative, wonderful people to work with. So I just want to say thank you to all of you. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to like play a small part in you bringing your story to the world. Um, we will go through the product pretty quickly. I'm sure many of you have played around with it. Maybe some of you haven't. We have new things coming all the time, and just share a little bit more about product philosophy and such. Um, so I'll just kind of go through this demo as though like you haven't seen the product before, and that may just touch a lot of the different surfaces that are necessary. So if you haven't, explored the movie machine before, this is it. This is our admin account, so we have like 1,000 projects in here. Obviously, you will not have 1,000 projects, but to get started is super simple. Just go here and hit create new project. Upload your story. So if you've written a book, you can upload your book here. If you've written a screenplay, you can upload your screenplay here. Couple important things to emphasize. Number one, like upload it as is. Like, it's really sweet that a lot of you guys are like, oh, the AI, like, maybe will not understand or it's too much for it or anything like that. It actually will do better if you upload all your context into one. It'll save you a lot of time in the long run. It's what the system is built for. So as you publish it to other people and share it with others, just upload that right here in PDF. And then enter a title, a style preset. So you can say anime, cartoon, photorealistic, 3D animation. There's also a custom one here. So if you feel like these don't encapsulate the type of style that you're going for, then you can add a custom style prompt. And we've seen people come up with really, really cool things. Once you upload this file, we'll go and process it and we'll come back with something like this. So if you have a script already in this format, some of you guys are screenwriters, and if you upload a script, it'll go directly into the storyboard and the director's notes, which we'll cover next. But if you uploaded prose, we have this new like basically script writing interface. And so this will do a couple of things. One is it helps as an intermediate step for like converting your prose into your director's notes and storyboard. As a general philosophy for us, like we want to make you feel as much like a producer as possible. You should have like very granular control over your cast, your settings, your props, all that sort of stuff. And so this is just kind of one step in that process. We do like very slight adaptation here just to, because prose to screen is a little bit different, but for the most part we try to preserve your original story, and this is like an experimental feature as with anything we produce, so feedback is very welcome. So you can go through and you can read this, just like kind of what the syntax is here. Like these are your scenes, these are your scene headings, and then within there you have action, you have characters, and then you have all your dialogue. And if you want to edit it, you can just go in here and you can edit it, type in whatever you want. We have some cool AI enabled features. So if you highlight something and then hit Command K, and then you can just describe your changes, then that will go and make the changes for you. And so that hopefully can speed run some of the process. We also have some neat formatting things. So if you just, hit enter, they'll automatically give you like a placeholder for the character name. So you can hit character name, hi there, and then you can do your action. And you basically just go in this like very harness protected thing. So don't worry about messing up your script. Just go crazy. And then we have our production Bibles here. So this will pull out all your characters, settings, and objects before you get to the director's notes and storyboard. We heard some of you guys' feedback where it's like, not everybody includes certain details in their story, like the weight of a character, but we try to pull that out just so that we can get your director's notes as accurate as possible. And so if you look at all of that stuff and edit it before you get to the director's notes, that saves you a little bit of money in terms of regenerating images, and it makes our life a little bit easier as well. So this step is pretty important for just making sure that your storyboard turns out as you want it, that your characters, locations, and props are correct. And then as soon as you're ready, you just hit convert to storyboard, and we have like a production checklist and everything. So you can just make sure to check off these items before you go and convert to your storyboard. So once you hit convert to storyboard, we'll come back with something like this. Again, if you upload a script, we'll automatically go here. But if you uploaded prose, and we'll convert it to a script and then into this. So this is your director's notes. This is all the media that will be used downstream in your storyboard and in your videos. And so this is a step that I think sometimes people will sleep on. Like they'll kind of just like uh go, go to storyboard and hit like generate start frames, generate video, and they're like, oh, my character doesn't look like I want it. This is like the step where you need to go in and make those changes, both to voices and images for your characters, your settings, and your objects. And so a couple of important things to flag here. One difference that we're thinking about, if people have feedback on this, it's always welcome. The difference between edit and regenerate is subtle but important. Editing is if you want to make small changes to your character. So let's say I wanted this guy to have a red jacket instead of a blue jacket, then that would be an edit. Whereas if the character is like so far off from what I want, then what you want to do is go in and edit the physical description. Obviously, there's like quite a bit of text here. If you want to use edit with AI and just describe exactly what you want, you can do that instead, and then just hit regenerate, and that will give you like a new image. Think of it as like a blank, fresh slate, and that's for much larger, more dramatic changes. Just like a bit of understanding of how the models work underneath. They are biased against making super large changes because they're very optimized for consistency. And so if you want to try to make a dramatic change, then sometimes that will not work. And so it's worth sometimes just trying both of them and seeing what you can come up with. And then with voices, you can, some people, have their own voices. If you want to edit the voice, you can record a voice, you can upload a voice to influence the voice. And so this won't replace it, but let's say you have a voice that's like American and then you upload a voice with an American accent, then that will go and influence that. And so that's what you want to do in the director's notes. You can add characters. If you are creating like a series, so you have like season 1, season 2, season 3, you can actually select older projects and then import characters from those projects in here. This is taking a while because we have, 1,000 projects, but you can just click on any of these and then it will load in all the characters, settings, and objects from those older projects, and you can just import all of them into here. And then, obviously you can select them in the storyboard. So that's the director's notes. Now in the storyboard, there's a bunch of changes we've made. So if you tried it out in the earlier beta, like tons of changes, you may have had lots of scenes, lots of shots that were like extra and unnecessary. We've cut out a lot of that. When you open this up blank, you won't have any of these start frames and shots. And so it'll look something like this. Just a sec. The first thing to do here is just review all of the shot information. Review your action, your camera notes, your dialogue. Over here, there's like a drop down so you can easily change which character you want to be speaking. You can change what the dialogue type is. So if you want it to be an internal monologue, you want it to be a voiceover, you can change all of that stuff. For the video, we support these preset durations, and so you can select whatever duration. And so it's really important that you tune this and tune whatever the cast, set design, and props are here that you want to be involved in the shot. If you don't do this, the AI has no idea where it should be pulling images from. So that's where you start entering territory where it brings in all kind of wonky stuff. The other thing that we've done is made sure that settings are at the scene level. So a scene is basically dictated by a location change. So the reason that this breaks scene is because then the next scene has a different location. So if you want to edit the location, you want to do it at the scene level. But if you just want to change it for a specific shot, then you can change it within the shot information. So when you're happy with that, just hit generate start frames, and then we'll come up with start frames for all of your shots. And so when you want to edit it, we're trying to remove as much of the like technical prompting expertise. And so even if you describe things that are vague, try to be as specific as possible. That's always what we encourage. But we will try to guide your generation. So if I said something vague like make it purple, obviously that's very vague, doesn't really know. So it'll read the image and it'll come up with a couple of follow-up questions for you. So it'll say, okay, do you want to make your clothing purple, the coffee mug, the overall color tone of the scene? You can answer these questions, or you can hit skip questions if you feel like it's not, going in the right direction, and then he'll edit all of that stuff for you. The other thing to emphasize here is that this is definitely like a marathon, not a sprint. And so if you're kind of going through your different shots and you want to review a shot later, you can flag for review, come into here, and then you will have all of your shots for review here. Just click to review it, and then it'll take you back to that. Finally, we have the editor. As many of you know, this has been a work in progress for some time, but we have it in here now. This is still very much so a work in progress. Like you can do some things like clipping, you can split your clips, and then you have all of your different audio tracks that are separated in here. You can download it. So if you have an existing editing software that you prefer using, you can just download things. You have a media library, and so this will show you all of your different video, all your different audio tracks. You can rename, you can download, you can create custom things in here. Click create new, and then you can create sound effects. You can upload and bring in your own media. So if you have music that you want to bring in from Suno, you can do that. And then once you're ready, just hit export and then upload onto the streaming platform. There's lots of exciting things coming soon. So we'll be bringing vertical format soon. This is a teaser of the teasers feature. And so lots of things coming soon. In general, we're in beta, like it's not perfect, far from it. And so if there are any bugs, like, always email us. If there's something that would make your life easier, you feel like, oh, this would be really cool, I think a lot of people would appreciate it. Odds are other people are thinking the same way. So please tell us because that, we really do pay attention to that and that dictates how we spend our time. So I'll leave it there, keep it brief. And then if you guys have questions, please just ask them in the chat. But super grateful to have all of you here.
I can serve up some questions to you that I think would be good for you to answer. One is I have a comic book, John says, with all the panels that have written dialogue. Can I upload the entire comic book?
Oh, the panels themselves have the dialogue.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Right now, when we take the PDF that you upload, we just extract out the text. And so if you have images on there, we can extract it. We don't support it right now. But if you send us an email, we can definitely get on that. Because I'm sure many people have comic books that they want to turn in film. So, short answer at the moment, no, but very, very doable for sure.
What are questions folks have about anything? Movie Machine, Creatorwood Life?
Uh,
Yeah, Ross. So I mean, like, I guess the question is like, can we upload copyrighted materials for fun? Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, like, yes. In the sense that like we won't stop you from uploading it, but there's kind of the question of when you own the content you create on Creatorwood and the Movie Machine, you also take on the legal liability for it as well. You own all the rights, so with that comes all the privilege, or all the responsibility. So I would say as long as you're keeping it for personal use, there's very little risk in that. Like that's fine. If you're going to be posting it online, or sharing with other folks, um, then as long as you're filing like parody guidelines, like, I'm not a lawyer. I would consult a lawyer on these things, but as long as you're not violating IP. I mean, candidly, I'll link to it in the chat. There's been lots of AI character vlogging on the internet, and I don't think these companies are really shutting it down. So like you can find Stormtrooper vlogs online, you can find all these other things. So I don't know like where the line is between cease and desist and not. But I think a lot of companies are still figuring this stuff out. But in general, as long as you're being respectful of someone else's IP and following the laws, you can share it. And I guess privately, do what you will, if that makes sense.
Another question from the chat, Sashva, is around uploading photographs of real people or your own images that you have and how the movie machine can handle that.
Yeah, very much so can do. Here, I can even show you actually. So if you just go into your it's on director's notes. So if you go into the director's notes and then we'll generate images for you. But if you just go in here and then just hit upload image, you can upload your own image and then we'll use that throughout the storyboard. As for photos of real people, very similar to what Michael said, like you have free reign to do that. We're not going to stop you, but the legal obligation is on you. And so, if you decide to publish something, then the legal risk is on you, but you can upload it and use it in the movie machine.
In terms of copyrights and revenue and all that stuff, you own full rights to whatever you make in the movie machine. You don't have to split anything with us. If you use the Creatorwood streaming platform to publish your content, we don't have any exclusivity agreements. You still keep all the rights to your content, but if you're using our software to publish and make money too, not just create it, but you're also going to sell to viewers in our platform, you keep 80% of the gross revenue, which is honestly a pretty incredible deal because that extra 20%, a really decent portion of that's going to payment processing fees and server costs. And then we take a small margin on top. So it's probably the best deal you'll get in town. And then with that, you get all the emails of your followers and paying viewers. So you also get control of your audience. So, we always want to be a place where you are happy with our platform, you're happy with how we're treating you, and you're here because you want to be and because it's actually the best, not because you're trapped, which is why we give you that freedom, control, and audience portability. Because storytellers of the world, right?
I see a question in here from Steven about the glossy look to photorealism. I think there's two parts to it. One is like photorealism, like definitely there. We're making lots of demos as we speak, and so we love to send you more demos. I think one other thing to keep in mind is that this is like a game of regenerations. So, what you may not get on the first generation, like if you generate, 2 to 3 times, then you can you like or maybe more, like even 3 to 4 times, then you can get what you want. And so sometimes you may see that glossy look, sometimes not. There are some prompting techniques there. There's literally new models coming out. Like I think 3 different video models came out this week. Like there will be tons more coming out in December. And so the two things I would say is like it's definitely there. If you don't get it on the first try, regenerating a couple times will definitely get you there.
Trisha, on the AI created content's not copyrighted. If it's made with a human, the US has ruled at this time that if a human and AI work together to create a final output, that it is copyrightable in the US. So in the sense of Creatorwood, you are the director, right? And you get to use this machine. People are using this, so it is copyrightable. If you work with our VIP production team, we waive all copyright rights with us using it and give it back to you. So you keep the rights. In general, like copyright's important, but I think that like my radical belief on content is that copyright is going to matter less and less in the near term. And what's going to matter more and more is control of your audience. And we give the on Creatorwood too, where you have your audience's emails. Because if you have actual connection to an audience, that's really what matters at the end of the day. With that said, though, you also do have copyright on Creatorwood, and that's important.
So other questions. Sashva, can you come slightly closer to the microphone so you're a little bit louder? And then for uploading images, if we have an image we already like, but it's not fully photorealistic, can we prompt within Movie Machine to turn it from that slightly glossy AI filter look to being more photorealistic through Movie Machine?
We can do that. It might be like slightly tricky, but we're adding in very soon. We're adding in like 4K upscaling, and like sort of these like easy texture conversions. And so like, if you have this glossy look and you want to make it photorealistic, or even if you originally selected a style preset, like we've had this happen to many people where they will say, I want anime, and then they end up realizing actually I want 3D animation instead. We will do one-click style conversions, and so I would bucket that into this, and then we'll have 4K upscaling soon as well. So it could be slightly tricky, but we have a bunch of things coming out soon that will make it a lot easier.
Peter, yeah, you can publish anywhere. You can literally download the video files, of course, from our site, and you own them and can do anything with them. And we have no rights and no revenue shares and anything you have. So you can publish, you could sell to Netflix for $1 million, and we get none of it, and we're just happy for you. We'll throw a celebration, right? I'm not going to promise that to everyone. That would be pretty incredible. But the point is there. Um, Jackie says, I'm relatively new to this, and I tried an AI app that charged a fee every time I generated or updated an image. Yes, Jackie, that is how this works. Unfortunately, well, depending on who point of view, there's compute costs every time that we run any sort of AI processing. So whether it's making an API call to process text, creating an image, or creating video, there's heavy fees to this. So when we charge you, we're not just as a company, we have an incredible amount of expenses and they're based on what you're generating. So if we had a subscription where you got unlimited access, we'd also lose unlimited money. And we are all for empowering storytellers, but we can't do that if we're bankrupt.
Is it possible to upload custom voiceovers, or the uploads merely for use reference?
Yeah.
Can we use specific actors' voices if we wanted to record audio elsewhere and then bring it into the platform?
If you go into the editor, hit create new and upload, you can upload your file and then drag it into the timeline.
Sorry, can you repeat that again, Sashva? Come slightly closer to the mic.
Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna just start yelling into my microphone. Okay. In the editor, if you go into the editor, hit the media library, create new, and then upload, you can upload whatever voiceover audio files that you want.
And yes, it will sync then because you'll have generated the imagery and the movement to match the audio. So that's Justin's question. It will sync with the actors and movements, the sound.